Well, hi there. Warm welcome. You're watching Blueprint Explosive Exclusive and I'm Meghna Deka. Well, welcome to Delhi, where I get you the show from, where breathing has become a luxury. Here you don't breathe. In Delhi, you smoke. You smoke 20 to 25 cigarettes a day, willingly or unwillingly. While the world breathes oxygen, Delhi breathes in poison. In other world capitals, they run marathons, pride of the city. In Delhi, every breath becomes a marathon. That's what we live in and day out. And if you dare to protest, if you dare to say, where is our tax money being siphoned off? What do you get? You get arrested. Your right to live has been turned into a fight to survive. It's not about living, it's merely about surviving in Delhi. Even our iconic monuments, they are fighting to be seen to the naked eye. Just look how thick the smog is in the national capital, where everything disappears, just like the Achhe Din. Disappears behind the smog and the smoke of Delhi. Watch this. Here you have it, Akshardham Temple, something that people took so much pride in. This is where this becomes the embodiment of Hinduism, and here you have everything shrouded in smog. You have the Lotus Temple, the Baha'i Temple. Well, you can barely see it. It's white, even harder to spot. You, of course, have the iconic Lal Killa. This is where the Prime Minister hoists the Tiranga, but if there were to be a Tiranga, you wouldn't be able to see it. India Gate, barely visible. You see that foggy space, that's supposed to be the Kartavya Path. Who's Kartavya? Who's walking this path of Kartavya is what we'd like to ask the parties which are in power today. This is the Qutub Minar. You can barely see it, which is why we've written what exactly is there. Such is the Red Fort that you can't see the Tiranga. That's the extent of apathy that we face in India now. This is the amount that you and I have to pay just to survive this. Is this the kind of air that the taxpayers who are diligently paying their taxes deserve? Let's take a look at how much tax the people in Delhi, like you and me, are paying for air. And remember, it's not just about Delhi. Anyone who's living in India, who's living in a democracy, has every right to ask, where is our money and what is it being used for? The amount of taxes that Delhi pays to the Delhi government is 58,750 crore rupees in taxes to the Delhi government alone. Of course, there are lots more other taxes also. Take a look at this. Look at it. Delhi's income tax, which is paid to the center. When it comes to income tax, 2.5 lakh crore rupees is being paid by Delhi alone to the central government as income tax. Let's also tell you about the estimated Delhi GST which it is paying. In GST, of course, that's also another tax that you and I are paying. How much is it? 34,000 crore rupees. This is the estimated amount which we are paying in GST. Now, even after paying this hefty amount for basic services, for the right to live, we are not even asking for the moon. All we want is some air. Do we get that? Well, the government seems to be distracting people with deceptions instead of actually doing some real damage control. We are asking for a right, they give us, well, false promises and also fake data. Why are we saying fake data? Sample this. Near Anand Vihar ISBT, the pollution monitoring station says that there are tankers which are sprinkling water in front of the pollution monitoring systems right before you're taking the AQI. So what happens is that when you put out, the first deception we are getting for you is when they were taking the AQI meters, they had water being sprinkled onto it so that immediately the AQI would dip and it would show a positive spin on Delhi's AQI. This is not the only one, not the only deception which is being used in Delhi to lower the AQI. In outer Delhi's Narela area as well as Bhavana, the air quality monitoring stations are installed inside campuses which are surrounded by dense greenery. Meaning naturally there's going to be cleaner readings there. Now remember, there are specific guidelines when you need to put out these meters, specific guidelines saying that it should be kept away from any greenery, because that itself means the readings are going to be brought down. Let's have it out in the open. But no, the Delhi government's put it in the midst of thickets, in the midst of trees, to ensure that the readings are lower. In R.K. Puram, the AQI display board is on the rooftop of a school which has been off since Diwali. So what happens? Well, we are unable to go and see what it says. At Ayanagar, the AQI display machine outside India Meteorological Department, the Met Department, has been defunct for 1.5 years. So we don't know what the ratings are. Well, if you don't want to give out the AQI readings, what do? Well, you block it out. Simple as that. Why tell people what it is when you can just hide it? Let's take a look at the Delhi government's budget to fight this toxic pollution. Because after all, as I was telling you at the beginning of the show, it is people like you and me, the taxpayers, who are going to fund this fight against pollution. But how successful is this fight against pollution? The budget allocation for all of this, for this fight against pollution by the Delhi government in this year's budget is 4 crore rupees for sprinkler system. But the total allocation is right there on top, 2,388 crore rupees just to fight pollution. We'd like to ask the Delhi government of the BJP, headed by Rekha Gupta ji, where is this money? Do we see any change on the ground? Sprinklers, I was telling you, that cost the taxpayer 4 crore rupees. Mist spraying systems, 4 crore rupees has been spent on all of this. Waste cloud seeding, a complete waste, because cloud seeding really did not yield any results. How much did we spend on it? 3.21 crore rupees to seed clouds. All we got was a mere drizzle. It wasn't even enough to clean up the air for an hour or so. Then, of course, there is Yamuna cleaning also, which the government has set aside the taxpayers' money for. It is 500 crore rupees for that. So this entire amount of 2,388 crore rupees that has been spent by the Delhi government to fight pollution, do you think that they have managed to fight this war successfully? Well, unfortunately, I live in Delhi and I can tell you it's an absolute no. But here's the problem. If you are tired of breathing the toxic air and even more tired of the government's smoke and mirror tactics, hundreds of people have hit the streets of the national capital demanding urgent action and real policies. This happened yesterday, and what happens? Well, they are being detained. Well, what some of these posters which had come up yesterday, अच्छे दिन दिखाई नहीं देते in 800 plus AQI. Very telling posters that we saw yesterday at India Gate. There's another one, Ab ki baar 1000 AQI par. Interesting spins and puns, but this is what was promised, and this is what is being given to us. Right to live, not just survive, said one of the posters. These are the kind of posters which are coming in and day out, and when people go out to protest against the government apathy, they are detained. Even children are not being spared. Watch this.
बच्चों को अरेस्ट करेंगे आप? बच्चों का प्रोटेस्ट मिलेगा? हाँ, बच्चे सांस नहीं लेते क्या? आपको पता है प्रोटेस्ट किसके लिए हो रहा है? सांस के लिए हो रहा है ना? आप छोटे से बच्चे को a child is taken away saying that इसका प्रोटेस्ट का राइट नहीं है, इसको सांस लेने का राइट है नहीं है, वो कैसे आप अलग करोगे? This is what is happening. This is exactly small children. बच्चे को arrest किया जा रहा है because children are protesting and therefore they are actually taking बच्चों को.
Well, we've reached the point where health experts are not just advising precaution, but they are advising the residents of Delhi to literally flee. Run for your life if you can. If you don't believe me, sample this. This is one of the top health experts of Delhi. What is the advice coming in? That everyone, however, cannot afford to leave Delhi. However, those who can must leave Delhi for 6 to 8 weeks. Go abroad or go to some place which is less polluted than Delhi is, especially if you have chronic lung diseases, chronic heart diseases. You must leave Delhi. You must protect yourself from the breathlessness. This is Dr. Khilnani, the chairperson of PSRI, giving good advice to people in Delhi. Now, the repercussions of air pollutions are far more than what we think it is. It's high time that you are aware of the silent killer, and I call it a killer, and this is the reason. 1/3 of children in Delhi, 1 in every 3 children in Delhi have impaired lungs. For the rest of their life, these are changes which cannot be made. They're going to live with impaired lungs. 30% of the premature deaths in babies is being caused due to air pollution. 350,000 people in India have chronic asthma as well. It gets even worse. Pollution doesn't just have adverse impact on your health, it literally is killing you. And if this is not murder, then what is? Well, a 2020 Global Air Report reveals the grim reality of pollution in India. Take a look at this. 17 lakh deaths have been caused in India due to pollution alone. About 9,80,000 deaths have been created, or rather have happened, due to the particulate matter of 2.5, PM 2.5. 17% of the deaths in India are due to air pollution alone. But when we speak about toxicity in Delhi's air, what exactly causes it? The particulate matter emitted by stubble burning, vehicular emissions, and of course, those are the ones which are playing a big role in the numbers, as well as what you can see on your screens here are what really are the permitted numbers and what really is happening. As per the WHO, they say that there should be 5 PM 2.5, which is particulate matter 2.5 is what is permitted. 5. But what we have in India instead of this 5 is 150. This is hazardous, to say the least. This is how different it is. However, you will be shocked to know that our national capital is not just a gas chamber for India, but the entire world as well. In fact, Delhi's AQI has touched 450. Here's why. Well, this at a time, there you have it on your screens. Delhi's AQI is at 350 to 450. Delhi is one of the worst gas chambers of the world. If we contrast that with Beijing, remember, China too had its fair share of problems, and they successfully backed and managed to fight off pollution. Beijing, one of the most polluted nations, but polluted capitals. However, its AQI is now down to 80 to 120, which is still unhealthy, but far lower than India. Even Lahore is better. Imagine Pakistan's capital, Lahore, has better AQI than India's capital. Look at that. Their AQI is severe, our AQI is hazardous. Of course, let's not even start comparing it with London. London has 20 to 30 AQI as opposed to Delhi having 350 to 450. Then you have Tokyo, which is again good AQI, 15 to 25. In Paris, 25 to 30. Those are the ones that we are looking up to, and we want to call ourselves the advanced nation, the nation which is going to lead by example. Well, so far, even our capital is failing on that front. Let me go across to our two panelists. Joining us today on the show, Vimlendu Jha, an environmentalist, Suhail Seth, a columnist. Vimlendu, good to see you, that you're out of your detention. You went to protest yesterday. Look at the irony of a police state. When you go out to protest, they were arresting people who dared to protest. Is this one of the highest levels of emergency and undeclared emergency that we've seen in Delhi today?
Absolutely. So imagine, there was a very interesting poster that I saw yesterday which said that smog is not a season, dear Chief Minister, it's pollution, because what the government has actually done is normalized smog and normalized pollution, and anyone who raises this is treated as anti-national or some sort of a criminal activity. I should remind all your viewers that people who went there to protest yesterday went there not because of their political allegiance to a particular political party or hatred for another one. They went to demand for clean air. These were children, these were young people, these were mothers, these were elderly, and it was basically frustration. It was not. And today also, while I sit here, or when I went to protest yesterday, I didn't go as a specialist in environment because, fine, that's my profession, but I went there as a father, as a frustrated father of a 4.5-year-old child who is actually on nebulizer for almost 2.5 weeks in that sense. And what did the government do? Imagine there were thousands of people anyway merrily walking around India Gate, and the air quality monitors have been tampered with or shut down as per their own admission in the Supreme Court. And here there were peaceful protesters asking the government to really do the needful, and they were actually forced to be detained. As we were detained for like 4.5-5 hours, thrown out to Bhavana somewhere, asking for what? Our demand, our children's demand for better lung. As your report said, every third child has a stunted lung. And who is responsible for that? It's the government, and not just today's government, but yesterday's government, all governments together. I was just looking at Suhail Seth's tweet as well. Why is it so difficult for all the chief ministers of neighboring states and the prime minister's office to convene a meeting? Enough of this blame game, because at the end of the day,
there is zero coordination. Very, very important point Vimlendu's raised. Sohail, zero coordination. All we have is bickering, and I'm not even talking about the politics behind it. Should it be Aam Aadmi Party of the past? Should it be the BJP, the centre, the Punjab government, the UP government? Doesn't matter for people like us, Sohail said. Today, the amount of taxes that we have been paying, we don't even get the right to live. We don't even get the right to clean air. Then what are we paying it for?
Let me tell you, they are all absolute scoundrels. The 3 chief ministers should be arrested. Okay, that's the deal. Don't bloody mollycoddle them. Don't pepper it with niceties. 3 of them should be hauled over the bloody coals. Enough is enough. Vimlendu talks about a 4.5-year-old child. My daughter was born in November 2019 in Goa. We refused to allow that birth to take place in Delhi in 2019. It's 6 years. Nothing has changed. Every year around this time, all you media folks also wake up and smell the pollution. I'm not even talking about the coffee, which is fine. You have 100 other things to do. Let me tell you, civilian health, civilian care, and civilian concern has never been the politicians' remit. They don't give a monkey's toss about you and me. You think what happened last evening is forgivable? It is unforgivable. It is not about emergency, police state, blah, blah, blah. No. There were innocent people demanding their lives back from this pall of gloom, which is classified as smog. It is not smog. It is poisonous air. It's like I'm inviting you to live amidst poison, and you don't even have a choice except to protest. And when you protest, you are detained. So here are the solutions. Number 1, nothing will happen because Rekha Gupta, Naib Singh Saini, and Balwant Maan they have thick skins and they are very feeble minds.
So
I'm saying
we don't even have accurate data or numbers.
No, hear me out. Let me finish. Accurate data and all is rubbish. You go out and you can see. You don't need data to tell you that you're living in poison. You can see it for yourself. Number 2, the Supreme Court suo moto should summon the 3 chief ministers and the 3 chief secretaries and order their arrest if within a certain time frame certain steps are not taken. Number 3, the Prime Minister should convene a meeting of the chief ministers and our famous environment minister, who, like those monuments, is becoming slowly more and more invisible. I don't even know where the hell this chap is. This chap, when there was a crisis about 4 or 5 months ago related to flooding and, environmental issues, again, he was missing. These chaps don't give a damn. Remember, you and I don't matter. Vimlendu doesn't matter. No one matters to them except votes.
Absolutely.
The people are powerful when they make the powerful people feel powerless if those powerful people don't listen. That's what we've got to do. Enough of mollycoddling, enough of India Gate protests. Look, they will always spin it. They will say, oh, ये तो अमीरों की protest है. अरे भाई, अमीरों के पास तो air purifier है. जो गरीब आदमी है, he doesn't even have a choice. He or she doesn't even have a choice.
Absolutely. And people are actually choosing to go out in this toxic air to fight for their rights. It's not about armchair activism. It is about the horror that we are living through day after day. Unfortunately, gentlemen, we are out of time. Thank you so much, Vimlendu Jha, Sohail Seth, for joining us on our show with your views. Without a short break, don't go anywhere.